What's up, guitar players? Thanks for stopping by Easy Guitar Practice. My name is Guthrie, and today I will be taking you through a great little system to start refining your soloing capabilities, even if you're a newer guitar player. So as long as you're, semi-familiar with the really simple scale shapes, we're basically going to be going over the most simple scale shape and how you can organize it in a way to start hitting great sounding solos right away, right at the beginning of your guitar playing journey. And if you're interested in that, you are in the right place. This is really how I wish somebody had broken things down for me when I was a newer player, at least when it comes to guitar soloing. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on a backing track. I would recommend grabbing your guitar so that we can do this together. You can kind of play with me as we go through this. And that's really the deal. It's gonna be a blues backing track, not because I wanna force the blues on anyone. It's just a really easy progression that will help us organize our, soloing skills. But of course, you can take these concepts and bring them into any genre that you're messing around with, all right, and that you prefer. But here we go. This is in the key of A and A blues, and I'll link that in the description. I'll put it right here as well. All you really need to know is that we're using the A minor pentatonic scale shape, the most basic one. Right, you can already hear that it, sits well on top of the progression. And then we've got this little extension right here. All right, same notes. It's just that we're, moving it up a little bit on the neck and just focusing on the G, B, and high E strings. But that's gonna be important for one of the phrases we use, one of the licks we use. So just keep that in mind. You're gonna want the framework for when you play around with this for yourself, but we are gonna go through a few licks. Now, the one thing that you can add for this progression is this note right here. So that's 6 on the G string, and it's 9 on the high E string. All right. Now, I'm just gonna go over some licks, and we'll talk about how you can, manipulate them so you have more licks under your fingers, and basically how to organize it so that you can start running through this and start conceptualizing different solos for yourself based on different scenarios using these concepts. All right, so here's the first lick, and let's do it in line with the backing track to start. It's gonna restart. There's the first lick. You can hear that it layers nicely. Let me pause this really quick, just so we can break that down together. We're hammering from 5 to 6 on the G string. Then we've got B and high E on the 5th fret. And then we're gonna slide from the 8th fret on the B string to the 10th fret. And I'm using my ring finger for that. And if you need to, don't use the backing track right away, just get familiar with that lick and play around with it, make sure that it's dialed in. Obviously the tabs are here. There's a PDF that's also in the description, free download. I don't wanna make you pay and give me all your emails and stuff. Just download the PDF and you'll have these licks for life, and you'll be able to pull up the backing track on your own, play with them for yourself, and again, manipulate them so that you can, create some differences for yourself. And, that I'll go over how you can do that in a second, but that's the first lick. All right, let's turn the backing track back on so we can go over this second lick. Restart. There's the second lick. Let's do it again. One more time, then I'll turn the backing track off. Now, as you're listening, right, timing is important. The rhythm is important. Making sure you're synced up with the backing track, whether it's this one or you take this into your own jamming scenarios. You're going to want to be synced up nicely with whatever progression is underneath your solo. All right, but you'll notice that same kind of phrase. All right, so we've got 10 on the high E, then we're going down to 8, but we're hammering on to the 9th fret, so index, hammering with the middle finger. And again, if that's a little newer for you, same thing as the first lick, do it without the backing track, just get familiar with that. All right, and the PDS should take care of that, but two hits on the 10th fret of the B string, 8 on the B string, 9 on the G string, 10 on the B string. All right. So there is lick number 2. Let's get the backing track back on so we can go over lick number 3. All right, picking up from the beginning. There's the lick. One more time. Wait for the restart. All right, let's pause it again. All right, once we have these under our fingers, I promise there's going to be some really fun stuff to get into, and you're really going to be able to get super expressive with your soloing. So the lick starts with this bend from the 7th fret on the G string, and we're basically bending it up so that this note, right, as we bend it up, ends up sounding like this note, right? So we're bending up on the 7th fret of the G string to make it sound like the 9th fret. And you want to support, if you're a little bit newer to bending in these techniques, you want to support this ring finger with your middle and index. Otherwise, it's going to be this weak bend. And it's going to be, a little harder to hit accurately. So I'm supporting. And you can, gradually bend up so you can make sure that it won't be the end of the world when you're going full speed if you go a half bend, right? So a half step up as opposed to full step. So that would be half step. That would be full step. That's okay. But we want to go full step. Once we come down, right, we're going to start coming down on that bend. Then it's just 5, 7, 5 on the G string, and then it's 7, 5, 7 on the D string. And notice the vibrato helps add some expressive nature to the notes as well. So if you just go, that's a big reason why there's such a gap between people who are a little bit newer and more intermediate and advanced guitar players. Not because you're not familiar. I use all the same basic shapes that I've learned really early on. It's just that the technique gets smoother and just better, right? So that vibrato, just think about pulling down on the string, and same thing with the ring finger. It's just more subtle than a bend, okay? And I should always say, I'm sorry for the guitar faces as I'm playing. It's the way it is. You know how it is. Okay, so there's lick number 3. So now we've got these 3 licks. All right, let's go over how to just play with them on top of this backing track. All right. Okay, there's the A. So there's the first lick. Remember to be patient and pause. Here's the turnaround. Different, rhythm or different, feel as we're kind of playing as the, the progression changes. I added an extra note there, but the actual lick is, you can go into the second, lick. Notice the vibrato. Now you don't have to go 1, 2, 3. I can repeat 2. Maybe I just take another piece of 2. And now I get into the scale, right? So I'm kind of coming away from the licks and just adding some random notes. Play around, right? Those who say, noodling is like the worst thing you can do. Well, if you have a framework of what you should be doing, it's not terrible to be experimenting. You want to experiment. This is a creative pursuit after all. You can ask yourself, was that clean? No, let me play that a little cleaner. I'll take an element from the second lick. So now I'm kind of taking from the first lick, and I'm just using notes that are in the second one. Not playing the full third lick, taking elements. But I'm using the licks as a framework. That's a little bonus if you want to, slide up and then kind of come off. That's a big B.B. King thing. I'm throwing that extra note in. That's, I guess, how I'm feeling right now. And it's restarting, so let me just pull that back a little bit. So as I was saying, as I'm coming up from that lick, just based on, again, how I'm kind of jumping into things, instead of sliding right after I get to the high E, I'm coming back to the B. Right, throw that in when you feel like it. Right, you have all the other notes at your disposal from the rest of the scale. Just a few notes right there. So the thing is, you don't have to get wild with it. Think a little bit more like a singer. Right? What do your favorite songs sound like as far as, vocal performances? Are they always doing kind of a jazz style, scat, like, no, right? Think of Adele. Powerful, expressive, lingering on a note, taking a moment to breathe. I often feel like when I'm making these videos, I want to get as much information out quickly, so I end up rushing. But you want to take those breaths. Don't be afraid to repeat. That's why it's so nice to just play with 3 licks. Let's play the actual lick. Something to break it up. So I'm still using that kind of first lick as like a main phrase, as an anchor point. You can kind of go chromatic on those notes. 9, 8, 7. Right? Mess around. But that's really the deal, okay? I just wanted to take you through how you can start organizing things. Take a concept for yourself. 2 notes. Build on them a little bit. You don't have to go wild if you're a little bit newer. Right? I'm literally just using, 4 to 5 notes there. 7 on the A string, 5 on the D string, 7 on the D string, 5 on the G string, 7 on the G string. But, making sure to get the vibrato in there. Hammer on. Pull-offs. The vibrato's nice, the slides. So instead of, that might be a little bit more expressive, things like that, but really taking a breath, being patient and not being afraid to repeat or just create subtle variations inside of a main lick. And every time this, backing track restarts, you can try a new main lick or a main riff. So make that your main lick and then create some, subtle variety. And just to put this on one more time, this is during the turnaround. But let's say we restarted. Sounds pretty good. You get the gist. I will stop beating you over the head with these concepts. Patience, right? Take a breath. Take more breaths than I've been taking during this lesson. I feel like now I'm getting flush. But there's the deal. Practice these licks, refine them, make sure they sound good over the backing track, and then start, breaking them apart, piecing them back together, and creating your own flavors inside of them. And then you can take this into another scenario, the same scale. This specific scale, look for a backing track in A minor, and you'll have a different, flavor to play over and see how this works, over that progression. This note, that probably won't work or definitely will not work inside of an A minor progression, but you can play around and recognize that for yourself through just experimentation. So anyways, hope that was helpful. If you do find this helpful, of course, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.